Fascism is a word that we hear a lot in modern political discussions, not just because it represents the worst of some political actions in the past or leaders like Mussolini or Hitler, but also because it's still part of modern day politics. I became interested in fascism whenever I had read a novel that was based in Italy after World War One, where that childhood friends end up being adult enemies based on their political affiliations. So it got me interested enough to start reading about fascism and other political parties, and it made it really clear to me that there were still instances of fascism in the modern world today. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the origins and history of fascism, the spread of it across Europe, and give some modern examples. So the word fascism comes from the Italian word fascio, which was used a lot in Italian politics. It's the word for bundle, which was used to represent the bundle of Italian citizens that were tied together by their culture and traditions, morals, and race. And fascism is described by Robert Paxton, a historian and political scientist, as a group of people that is obsessed with their perceived victimhood, decline of community, or that become unified based on their identity or ideals or race, like their nationalism. And they tend to work together uneasily but with elites, and use militant violence for the non-ethical cleansing, internal cleansing of the group or of the space that they're in, and external expansion. So good examples of this are, of course, Hitler and Mussolini. They took the time after World War One, when there was a lot of poverty and unemployment. People were suffering through the Great Depression on a global scale. There was other things that were going on, like corruption and organized crime in Italy, and the pressures and influences of Jewish people in Germany. And so they took those platforms and convinced people that there was a need of a revolution, and that in order to restore the countries and to make them great again, that they were the only people that could do that, and that they had to do that by focusing in on just only the group of people that they considered the true citizens. So Hitler was able to pass laws that stripped German Jews from their rights of citizenships, their rights to services, education, and ultimately closing their businesses and putting them in internment and concentration camps. And then Mussolini was able to restore the traditional idea of family values, making it so that women's roles were reversed back to just being in the home as a wife and mother, and outlawing abortion or any kind of birth control or literature about it, making them as like crimes against the state. The expansion that they tried to spread this idea throughout Europe, which ultimately led to the invasion of Poland by Germany, is what sparked off World War II, where that we know that the Allied forces were able to beat Hitler, and ultimately Hitler and Mussolini both died while still being very fascist, Nazi, those ideals, still having those. We'd like to think that that ended at that time, but it didn't, because today, even in modern times, like Peter Fritzsche, a political scientist, points out that in 2013 in Greece, that there was a group there that won seats really based on racist and anti-immigrant and refugee propaganda. Right now in England, according to David Ritten, there's a group called the British National Party that's very anti-immigrant and very racist in their speaking. And in the U.S., of course, we have groups like the KKK and the Proud Boys. It really does point out that fascism doesn't belong in any one particular time and place, and that what it really is it springs from a fear of the loss of power of one group to another group. So this group finds this one great chieftain that they feel like will secure their ability to maintain superior power and to dominate the other groups. And honestly, fascism is something that will last as long as there are different groups of people, different races, different tribes, different nations, and people have the need or feel like that they have to dominate one another in order to survive themselves. Thank you.